First, our cleaning lady quietly quit us whilst working for Katie. So that's a little awkward.
I want to deny it, but I think it might be true. From the newsroom to the nursery,
we're juggling a demanding career on live TV with the demands of motherhood.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Karen.
They are AnchorMoms.
Hi, friends. Welcome into another episode of AnchorMoms, the podcast. Thanks for joining us. We have a guest today.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Yeah, meteorologist Emily Gracey. She joins us. She lives in Charleston. She works for the same company as we do, Sinclair Broadcasting. She has her own podcast as well, but she has basically a she shed in her backyard where
Katie's obsessed with this shed.
I'm so into the shed, and it's just nice to talk to another mom, especially in this business. She has a lot of good insight,
and her kids are a little bit older than ours, which is nice to kind of have that heads up about what's to come. She also shares, I would say, not a win of the week, but a win of the century.
I mean,
folks, it's going to blow your mind.
This, I just want you to know, the win of the week this week.
The win of the century.
The win of the century this week has stuck with me now for days. I've been thinking about it for days.
Yeah. We're both really, really excited about this. So listen in to our conversation with Emily Gracey. Okay, hello, Emily. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, Emily, you are in a very snowy Charleston as we record this.
Yeah, and snowy is kind of all relative, right? Like, you guys are in Asheville. We haven't seen snow in 7 years. So I would say it's actually like 2 inches of sleet, but my kids don't know the difference. So
wow. Yeah, that was a big storm that came through and unexpected, I think, for you guys, right? Are your kids loving it?
They are. They woke up yesterday morning like it was Christmas morning, like 6 a.m., jumping out of bed, screaming that like it snowed. And my daughter has never seen snow. My son saw it like 7 years ago, but she was just blown away. Yeah. And then they went outside and it was so cold that they like pretty much quickly came back inside because guess what? They're like Southern kids.
Right. That's so funny. I want to know about your digs here, just because before we sat down and hit record, I said to Karen, I did a little research and I was like, I think Emily has a weather shed. Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah. And I'm jealous. I told Karen that I wish we had a podcasting shed because we would just go out to escape our kids,
100%.
Yeah.
And so I started this whole podcasting thing in the house and it was very quickly like not working. Like the doorbell would ring, kids flying by, like my husband getting dressed behind me. It was a mess. So we bought this shed from Costco and just kind of like pimped it out. So my husband's pretty like great with home projects. So like we did wallpaper, built shelves. We just like finished the inside, drywalled everything, put a roof in. It's like my little haven now, and it's great. Unfortunately, though, the kids do like pop their heads in a lot, but that's fine. It's fine.
Do you do most of your weather work then out there too?
Yeah, I do everything. It's just my office. So I do my entire day is out here. It's, and then my husband has a shed in the backyard too. So we both kind of walk out of the house in the morning and like go to our dueling.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, let's back up. You both have sheds?
Mm-hmm. We do.
This is goals to me.
Like
so it started during COVID. So I was working at the local station doing morning weather during COVID, and everybody started working from home, right? And so my husband had the shed in the backyard that he was using as his office. I took it over and it became like where I was doing weather for 5 hours every morning. So I would be in there doing weather and then I'd come in and we'd trade off. He'd go to the shed, he'd work the rest of the day, I'd go and watch the kids. And so when we were done with COVID, I was like, well, I miss having a little shed. So that's how we wound up putting this other one up.
Oh my gosh. I love it. So you host the Off the Radar podcast. Tell us a little bit about that, how it sort of has evolved here.
Yeah. So I love it. It's, like my baby, So it started about 2 years ago, and I work for the National Weather Desk, which is Sinclair's national weather enterprise. We work out of DC. I work remotely, obviously, from Charleston, South Carolina. And I was producing content for them, but then kind of the Sinclair higher up said, well, we should have a weather podcast. So they came to me and said, well, let's start a weather podcast. And I said, great. This has been my dream for so long to have a podcast. So I started working on it, and it's evolved over the past 2 years. And it's very much kind of talking about weather, climate, science, ocean, space topics that are understandable and digestible to the general public. So it's aimed for, I would say, the science enthusiast, but not the science educated. Although there are a lot of like science educated people that listen to it as well. But then we talk about things that are really fun and interesting. And it ranges everything from like old weather mysteries kind of being solved with new technology, to diving into, recent events and how they happen and why they happen. And then lately I've been working in a lot of like personal stories too. So your area dealt with Helene this past fall, and I did a whole episode on that. So I interviewed somebody who was on Lake Lure, who survived, and telling her whole story, and then jumped into the science portion, for which I talked to your colleague, Jason Boyer. So I love to kind of mix that personal story with the science. Like, this is how it affected people, and then this is why it happened scientifically.
Yeah, I think here in Western North Carolina, never have we realized so much as in these past couple of months, just how much weather can impact you on a deeply personal level.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's part of everything. It's in everything. Even if you go to the grocery store, that's like the common theme that you hear people talking about.
Yeah. And we always say on the morning show that I anchor the morning show here at News 13, and 95% of the people are tuning in only for weather, right? That's what they're really interested in, So, yeah.
And even that's evolving, they're not even necessarily looking for the 7-day forecast anymore, because in the 3 minutes it takes to get to that, when they're watching the news, they could get it on their phone.
Right.
So it's like a bigger story. It's the why. It's like the personal touch, the how is this going to impact the bus stop situation.
The lifestyle. That's what we're always focused on, is like, how does it impact your lifestyle here in Western North Carolina? All right. Well, should we jump into our first article? This one comes from
Scary Mommy.
Scary Mommy. Thank you. And the title is, "A Mom Wants to Know If It's Normal That She Can't Wait for Her Kids to Go to Bed Every Day." She is saying that basically she's worried that she's wishing her life away and time with her toddler while she's still so young, but she feels really guilty, just because this is her kid. She says she's a good eater, she's a good sleeper, generally very well behaved, but she says she's just overwhelmed as a parent. And one of the things I love about this is that everybody sort of comes to her rescue in this article. I think it was originally posted on Reddit. They come to her rescue and say, girl, no, it's like a well-known fact, especially when you have a baby, an infant, even some of those toddler stages. It's a well-known fact that the best part of your day is bedtime. Right?
Yeah. One of the quotes is, "Motherhood would be perfect if kids went to bed at 4 p.m. right before you had to figure out dinner and they became gremlins." No truer words. Emily, I'm interested in your take on this. Your kids are a little bit older than ours. Yeah. Does it get easier? Do you still feel this?
No, I feel like it actually gets harder because they stay up later.
Oh.
So, that window of time when they're little and they're going to bed at like 7:00, and then you have 2-3 hours or whatever. Maybe not you, Katie, because you.
Listen. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, River at this point goes to bed. She's 6. She goes to bed later than I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So when we reached that point, that's when I left news. I was like, this is not working. My husband travels a lot. So I would say it gets harder, but you adjust. So I would say sometimes our kids are up past us, especially on the weekends. But then there's like this magical time at like 6 a.m. that we wake up and like we watched Outlander at 6 a.m. the other morning, because that's when we can watch shows together. We just don't get a chance in the evening anymore because we're tired. As soon as they go to bed, we're going to bed.
On the weekends, when do they wake up?
7, 8.
Oh.
My little preteen, sometimes a little closer to 9 these days.
That's amazing.
That sounds really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I do feel like you said your kids are 7 and 11, and I do feel like there is a transition then at some point that's coming that, like your kids will just go to their room to do whatever it is they do in their room, and then maybe you can resume watching TV with your husband, and then they start sleeping in because they become teenagers, right? So,
Yep. There is that, but then whatever you're watching, like last night we were watching something to the point where we were like, we kept like turning around. To make sure. It was not appropriate. Sometimes kids just appear behind you, right? Like you don't hear them coming and they just show up. So
yes, that is a common theme in our household as well. One of the things in this article, one of the people weighing in said, this is totally normal, but maybe take some time away at night. And I think even if it's a weekly, a monthly, like any time that you can get out of the house during those bedtime, dinner time, brush your teeth, finish your homework hours is such a reprieve and so nice.
yes.
I feel like even if I get like one girl's dinner out of the house a month, it's amazing.
yeah, I remember when River was really little, like at this age, I think where this woman's daughter is. When we would get a babysitter, it was such a treat because somebody else would put your kid to bed. Like the greatest joy, it was less about the fact that you were going out and doing something. It was just the fact that you came home and your kid was asleep, right?
Yeah.
Like that you didn't have to do all of the bath time and bedtime stuff. So
Well,
I think this is
also
normal.
like that time period between like 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. is exhausting. It is like you're trying to do dinner, you're trying to do all these things. So the other thing I do sometimes is we just get out of the house, like all of us. Like why do grocery shopping on Sunday? Why not go on Monday evening after dinner? And everybody's out of the house. And then as soon as you get back, it's time to go to bed. But there's not that period of time where everybody's destroying the house. You're cleaning up after everybody. You're doing dishes. It like breaks up the monotony somehow. And makes it a little less stressful.
That's a really good idea. I see a lot of wisdom in that.
Yeah.
Getting out of the house at night. This is making a lot of sense.
Grocery shopping at night?
Yes. Or just getting them
There's
out.
nobody there.
Like, just because you're right that those hours right before and right after dinner time sometimes are just grueling.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is my big takeaway. I might start grocery shopping at night with
4
kids.
children.
Or even just do it by yourself. It would be magical.
Yeah.
That
Or
would
take
be
2
nice.
of them and leave 2 with Greg.
Split them up. Yeah.
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 Okay, our next article is from New York Family. Nesting parties are the new 2025 parenting trend. Have you guys heard of this? Nesting parties?
But I love it. I love it.
Had you heard of this before, Emily?
I had not. No, this is the first.
Okay, so the article talks about, I didn't realize this, baby showers have been around since the 40s. But nesting parties are the new rage. The article says what baby showers should always have been: the community coming together to help new parents prepare for the baby's arrival through activities such as prepping frozen meals and organizing the baby's cabinet or dresser. So it talks about how this takes a lot of the stress out of that. These days, of course, I feel like baby showers are just like everything else, such a production, right?
Ooh.
There's the balloons and everybody has to look fancy and there's fancy foods and there you have to bring a gift and it's just a whole show. This is saying nesting parties are much more casual. It's maybe like 4, 5, 6 of your closer friends and you just have them come over and do all the things that you need to do that are perhaps not the glamorous things, right? Wash the clothes.
Remember that?
Yeah. Fold the clothes, I would have loved to have had, 2 or 3 casseroles or some sort of meal frozen in my freezer that I could have pulled out the first week or 2 after you get home with a newborn.
Yeah.
Just the ease of it. Put the crib together, pack your hospital bag. A lot of these things are things that I feel like you think are going to be exciting and then they're not at all. And your husband often doesn't want to do them. And so it falls on you. But how much more fun to do them with your friends. I think this is a great idea.
Yeah. And I think this article talks about creating, it just sort of creates community as well. People have such a tendency to feel so isolated after they have a baby. And it's just a good way to sort of start that, start rallying that community even before you have a baby.
Yeah.
My first question though was like, do you still get the presents?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I feel like the answer is yes, right?
I think
I hope
this
so.
was saying you might have both. You might have a baby shower and a
Oh,
nesting
that
party.
sounds kind of like exhausting.
That sounds
though.
great.
Hey, remember when after you had Bennett, what did they call those things?
Oh, a sip and see?
We did it. Do you know what a sip and see is?
No.
Oh, well, I didn't either. But so
It's very Southern.
yeah. And I'm not a Southerner, so I feel like somebody. I think
Same.
you might have even like requested it, Karen.
My sister had done one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So a sip and see is like after you have the baby, you invite a bunch of
party.
people over. Yeah, you have a party, and of course you can sip your beverage of choice. And then you see
the baby.
And it was fun because it was like co-ed and husbands came and it was like a little less stodgy, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm all about the sip and sees.
Did you have baby showers with both of yours, Emily?
I did, and I had multiple ones too because I am from Connecticut, and then I had one of the babies in Maryland, another one in Charleston, and then my husband's from Charleston. So I feel like we were all across the East Coast doing these baby showers, and I'm not like a big party, people looking at me type of person. I did not enjoy it. I would have much preferred if they just sent the gifts, and then I actually did have a friend when I had my last child come over and say, we're going to just cook a bunch of food all day. So we cooked a bunch of food. We put them all in the freezer. She brought all of the materials.
That's
she labeled
awesome.
everything. Yeah. She doesn't even have kids. And she came up with this idea. So I had a freezer full of stuff like casseroles and stuff after my daughter was born, which was great. But I 100% agree. Like the sitting there, you're 9 months pregnant, like you're sitting in a chair, awkwardly uncomfortable, opening presents in front of people. It's the worst.
And I'm just going to say
Just
this is going to be controversial. I sort of hate going to baby showers.
Yeah.
I do
don't
too.
love them.
I do
I don't
too.
love them. And if you're listening to this and I've been to your baby showers, it's not you, it's me. You know, like
It's not you, it's the type of party.
yeah, I just am like, you know, I feel
agree.
awful saying that, but it's just not my favorite thing. I would much prefer just to send a gift and be like, congratulations.
Well, or have one of these nesting parties.
I mean, I don't want to put together your crib though. Like I would not
yeah.
be.
Oh, okay. You just want to send a gift and not really be a good friend who puts in any real work.
I think yes.
Okay.
I think that.
Okay.
I mean, I will wash some of your clothes if you want. I'm not even a good cook. So, like, if you want, I'll arrange a meal
just want
tray.
to Amazon it. You just want.
I was going to say, I'm really good at ordering diapers on Amazon.
Right,
I can do that
But
well.
I mean, isn't that what we really need? Even the sip and see, that was like a big step for me. And that was a lot more fun because I could drink alcohol whilst it was happening, you know? Like I could have some champagne. So
Yeah. I think this sounds amazing to me that you could have friends like, because at a nesting party, you're in your sweats is what I'm picturing, right? Like you don't have to look fancy. You're just getting there done. You're nesting. You are doing all those things that, you know.
that has to be done.
But your spouse probably doesn't want to
unglamorous.
do them and you really don't want to do them by yourself. So I think it's great.
All right, let's make this a thing.
Well, I think we're
done.
We're done having babies.
I know,
so
but yet I still continue to be invited to baby showers.
Okay.
So spread the word, ladies.
Okay,
Spread the
okay.
word. We're nesting instead of showering, okay?
Okay. All right. But actually, Katie's not going to participate.
But I'm
She's just
actually
gonna
not
send a
going to
gift.
I'm just going to send you a gift, which is what you really want anyway, if I'm just being honest.
I will come and cook the food and wash the laundry and
Oh.
do the hard things because I'm not a good gift giver. You're a good gift giver.
Well, I mean, you can't, like,
Everybody has their
everybody
talents.
has their gifts, literally. Yeah.
Emily, do you have a win for us this week? It can be big or small.
Oh, okay. So when I was preparing for this, I was trying to come up with a win. And my initial thought was that the win is that it snowed and I didn't have to pack up my life and go to work for 3 days.
Yes.
That I got to stay home. But in the past 24 hours, it has not really felt like a win. I'm almost like, oh, I wish I could go to work right now because it's a lot of work, this balancing like kids and trying to work.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm shifting my win. And my win is this magical person in my life called Missy. And she is, and I feel even like I say this with like all the knowledge of the privilege that comes with this. She's my home manager.
Okay. Say more. I love
Wow.
this and I need to know
So-
more. Yeah.
I did not know this was a thing. And then one day, and I often feel, overwhelmed and like I'm good at working. I'm not always good at like taking care of the house or keeping things organized. So Missy is a home organizer and she comes in once a week and she completely organizes the house, like clears everything off the
What?
countertops. Not only that, but she's really, really, really good at it and she likes it. And the great thing about her is that I don't have to think. I don't have to ask her to do anything. She just sees what needs to be done and takes care of stuff. She gets to know her clients and then she gets to know what they need, what they like, how they do things, where they put their laundry. So I often like do all the laundry and then just leave this massive pile of laundry on my bed. And she folds it in like the most OCD crazy way and fits everything into drawers and just puts things in places where they belong. And if something's not in a good spot or needs better organization, she'll send me an Amazon link for like little baskets of things. And then I order them. And then the next time she comes, she puts things in the little baskets.
Wait, like I can't, but there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah,
here.
no,
we need to back up.
We have a lot of questions. So first of all, does she clean or just organize?
She does tidying is what she calls it. So she doesn't like clean, which is fine. I'll run a vacuum, I'll mop. That's fine. I can do that. I like mindless busy work. I don't mind that at all. She's good at like the work that takes thought. So the organizing of things or the clearing out of things, or if I have a bunch of trash laying around, like right now we have these bins of stuff that came out of our attic that we need to get rid of. She called like the National Kidney Foundation and organized a pickup and then is going to be here when they come pick up this stuff. And then she'll like put the bins back where they belong.
So I have a question. So like one of the big issues in our house, we have this massive long homework desk that all 4 of our children do artwork and things on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Homework. But it gets overwhelmed with papers and crafts and just junk and toys literally almost every day. And I'm so tired of cleaning off the homework desks. But I feel like I'm the only one who can do it because I know which things my kids want to keep and which things are trash. So how does she handle that?
So at the end of her shift, I walk in the house and she usually has a little pile and she says, this, and I shake my head or I do one of these. And she goes, this. And she goes, this didn't look like it was important, but you tell me. And then she'll get rid of stuff that's not important. And then also like my daughter is kind of a pack rat. So she can't be around for this process because if she sees
she wants
any
everything.
Like tiny little like scrap of paper that she did a drawing on, but she never misses it. So, and then Missy will like find ways to hang or organize, or she'll like slide things under beds or say like, this is an unused portion of your house that you would really be able to put something in. Hold on one second. My dog's at the door.
Oh, what's your dog's name?
This is Max.
Hi, Max.
I don't know who let him out of the house, but now he's here.
So my next question, does Missy travel to Asheville?
I believe she travels to Knoxville, and I don't know if she does Asheville, but I will ask her. She does a lot of traveling.
How do you find
and
such
forth.
a person?
Is it a service? Does she work for
No,
a company
she
or she
doesn't.
just works for
She
herself?
has her own company. She works for herself, and she actually is trying to hire more people because she has had people working for her. But I will say one of her people came to our house a couple times, and it wasn't the same. Like she's this magical one-man show that like she just is so good at what she does, and she seems to enjoy it, which blows my mind too.
And how so she comes once a week, and how long is she there for?
4 hours.
Okay. Wow.
And you can purchase levels of Missy too. So I have the lowest level at once a week, but she has clients that are like 2 busy working parents with like many kids. A lot of people who like have their own businesses too. And then she handles stuff like that because we have an Airbnb and she's done some work with our Airbnb too.
Wow.
This is such a huge win, Emily.
I think
I'm a little bit speechless, to be honest.
If you're just listening and you're not watching us, you should see Karen and I's. Like we are floored that this exists. And also, how did you come to find her? Like, how did you know that you needed this? I mean, all of us know we need the service, but like, how did you find her? You know, because my first thought is like a cleaning lady. It wouldn't occur to me to hire somebody to organize.
Right. But have you ever hired a cleaner and then you spend the night before stressed out of your mind trying to tidy up your house? She always comes the day before the cleaner comes. So I never, ever stress anymore about when the cleaner's coming because she picks up all the Legos that are like in places they shouldn't be. She magically puts them on surfaces where they can go. So yeah, it's a whole different ball game here with Missy. I found her on, like the Charleston Mom Swap. She had posted an advertisement.
Okay.
And then I saw somebody had posted under there that I knew. They were like, Missy's a lifesaver. So I reached out to that person and I was like, is this worth it? And then she came and gave me a quote and I was like, well, that's a lot of money. Worth every dollar. Like I will stop shopping. I will eat ramen if it means I can hold on to her.
If you can keep Missy. I need a Missy.
Mhm.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I can't think of anything else except Missy.
I'm gonna ask her. I'll ask her if she has peeps in Asheville or if she
Except
travels.
Missy.
I just need one because I have the same issue. Like the cleaning lady, it's just so much work to get ready to clean for the cleaning lady.
Yeah.
So we actually, that's a whole nother story. First, our cleaning lady quietly quit us whilst working for Katie. So that's a little awkward.
I want to deny it, but I think it might be true. I'm not totally sure.
Totally
I'm not
true.
totally sure.
I referred her to Katie, and then all of a sudden she quit us. So rude. Then I hired another. I don't know. I hired another cleaning lady, and then I realized that it just was like a lot of. It's one of those things in your head. You think this is money that I shouldn't be paying. Like I should be able to clean my own house.
No, I completely disagree.
That's what society tells us, but you should just.
I completely disagree. But
I think I need a Missy.
I get
more
it,
than I need a
but
Katie.
I disagree
I think
too.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think when you're working full time and you have kids, this is invaluable. I mean, as you're saying here, Emily, this is like invaluable. I will say this. This is what I'm curious. A tree hit our house during Helene. And so now our house is all like plywooded up in a mess and we're about to start a big renovation. And I sometimes, and I think this is what you're speaking to, you sort of look around and there's a better way to use your space.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like, if I had baskets and something right here, if I had a shoe rack right here, if I had shelves right here, but I don't know how to implement it. And I just wonder if I need like a Missy initially, like someone to come and be like, this is what you put here and this is what you put here. And then could she check in every once in a while and say, hey, so, you're still not using that space correctly, or like now this is opened up and you should do this.
Or help you buy, I think one of the things you said is like the apparatus, right? To be better organized.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That part of it, like you should buy this type of furniture for this space and this for here and use this. Have you thought of using this? Yeah.
And think about how much time you spend on Amazon looking for like the right stupid little thing
comes
for
and
some
you're like,
room.
This is fine, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted or like envisioned, but it's not worth returning it. So I'll just keep it. And then I don't know if you're like me, like I have 65 million different baskets all around my house for like all these things, and they kind of work, but they really don't. And then I'll repurpose them and put them somewhere else. Like, you would just probably even save money if you had somebody who could tell you from a practical standpoint, this is what you need. I'm loving this.
Oh, she's funny too, because like she'll whip out this tiny little tape measure out of her like side thing, and she just goes like this, and then she has this tiny tape measure she carries everywhere, and then she's like, I measured and this is the size that this needs and this is what you need to get. And the other thing, Katie, you were mentioning, like you look at your house and you see what can be improved. And I thought the same thing. I was like, people walk in our house. It probably looks like college students still live here. Like our IKEA couches are disgusting. Like it's just not a grown-up's house is what I thought. And what I liked is that she came in and she said, well, there's some like little minor things here and there, but overall, like your house looks pretty good. Like you've done a good job. So she also made me feel good about what we already had going on.
So you're not going out and
maybe
spending
I'm not like way off.
Right. A ton of money. Yeah. Well, I feel like we might need to get Missy on the show. So
I mean, I just got my mind is running right now. But yeah, I think we need a Missy in Asheville. She could do a lot of really good work post Helene. Because a lot of people have a
Yes.
lot of homes that they're
Yeah.
trying to, like Katie,
Figure out.
or redo or add on or take off,
Yeah.
around the storm
Well,
damage.
She's going to get a kick out of this podcast.
I know. Listen, we
Send it to Missy.
I know. We also have this segment. We did not, when we have guests, we frequently cut it out, but we have this segment called Mom's the Word, which is like some sort of recommendation that Karen and I have. But I literally think you might have covered both the win of the week and the Mom's the Word. So thank you.
Yeah.
And I also encourage people who are like good at this to do this as a business, because there are so many people like me who can't do this, that don't have that ability. And there are so many people like Missy who are moms and maybe looking for work. And this might be a really good opportunity to become a home manager.
Mm-hmm.
Help us out.
Help us.
Be
Become
our
our
home
Missy.
manager. We're gonna send the so we're recording on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, we are going to comment if you know of a home manager in
That's right.
Asheville.
That's a good idea.
Let us know if there's home managing services. And I didn't even know the term. Like when you said that, I was like, home manager.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Does she have a shed too at your house?
Yeah, like is there a third shed with a home manager living in it? I don't know what's happening.
It would be a compound at that point.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, Emily, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so fun. We appreciate you coming on. And everyone listening, be sure to check out her podcast, Off the Radar, which sounds really
I want
fun
you two
too.
to come on my podcast too.
I mean,
We're available.
We know nothing about science,
But we
But
can.
you don't have to.
but we
You
pretend
know what I
like
wanna
we know
talk
a lot
about, though?
everything else.
Exactly.
I would love for you two to come on and talk about hurricane preparedness and what you learned from being
Oh.
survivors of Helene.
We do have some good tips on that. And also, we had a counselor come on right after who talked about kind of the way that not only you can work through living through a natural disaster, but also help your children live through that. And that I felt like was very powerful. And I felt like I learned a lot of things from her.
We have learned a lot about emergency preparedness, a lot about how to deal post-emergency, things that we never knew we needed. Now we know. Yeah.
I still have like a case of water in my car now. Like at all times, which is odd because I was not a person who would ever have something like that. But when you go through something, it does really change your perception and
your
some
perspective,
of the things that you do daily, just in case. I don't think there's going to be another Helene here in Asheville, but you just have that anxiety that there might be. So that would be an interesting discussion.
And as mothers, I mean, you have a different perspective too. If you're looking out for these little people and you're thinking about them first. So I think Mother's Day would be a really good time for you guys to come on and talk about that.
Okay.
Well, just give us a ring, right?
Yeah, we'll be around, probably cleaning our homes, wishing we had Missy. Thinking about old Missy over here in Asheville. Well, thank you, Emily. We hope you have a good one, and we'll check back in with you soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, and if you'd like to follow Emily, she is on Instagram at Emily Gracey and on Facebook as Emily Gracey Meteorologist.
We'll put this in our show notes if you want to, if it's just easier to click there. I'm Missy.
Oh my
I need
gosh,
that girl.
Missy.
I need that woman.
We continue to talk a lot about Missy. We need a Missy in our lives, and we want Missy to move to Asheville.
Yeah. We want Karen and I are already Googling, like, does Missy exist?
Is there a Missy in Asheville?
Is there a Missy in Asheville?
How do we get her?
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Anchor Moms is a Sinclair podcast produced out of WLOS in Asheville. We're your hosts, Katie Killen and Karen Zakalek. Anchor Moms is edited by Matthew Yates.
For more information on the topics discussed in this episode and to stay up to date on future episodes, follow us on Instagram at AnchorMoms.
You can follow Anchor Moms on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Know a parent who could benefit from this week's Anchor Moms episode? Your recommendations help our show to grow, so spread the word.